Okay, hi and welcome. Alright, today we're going to be having a little look at the cylinder head. So, here we've got the jugs, or the cylinders, that the pistons are going to move up and down through. And what I've seen online is that it's really important to have these honed before you put in a new set of pistons, set of piston rings. And the whole idea behind the honing is that it creates like a kind of a scoring inside the cylinders so that the oil can move in a certain way. If it's too straight, so if the let's say the scoring inside the cylinder is just linear down, it won't get the movement around the whole piston head the way it needs to. If the scoring is just too straight or flat, it means that it won't actually make its way down. So this will help to really get the ring seated nicely into the cylinder head. So this is a little 4-inch hone that I bought. I got it actually in Canadian Tire, I'm pretty sure. I had a Canadian Tire or Princess Auto, and it was like 20-30 bucks, something like that. I've got it just on my standard corded drill, and this here is collapsible and it's spring loaded. So the idea is that once it gets inside the cylinder head, that it opens out, and then basically we kind of get it in and out there and start it to rough up the inside. I also have a bucket of water here beside me. I saw a guy online, and what he'd do is actually give it a bit of a rinse off every now and again, which seemed to do the trick for him. So we'll give it a go and see how we get on. Seems to be doing a nice job on it. One thing that I read online is that seemingly it's better to have a almost like a 45-degree angle in there. So I think I'm going to have to make sure that I kind of move it in now enough, which I suppose is kind of like, I don't know, making love to my new bike. I don't know, I hope my wife doesn't come in and see this. It's going to get weird real quick, but we'll see. But I think it should do the trick. Nice job actually. I was a little bit worried because, you know, you see what it's supposed to look like and it's not always how it turns out. So it's actually nice to see that it's actually looking like how I saw it online. Because, you know, some of the parts where you're just simply like rebuilding little mechanical components together. There's not a lot you can do wrong there once you get everything back as it is. But I find when you get into, you know, machining bits and pieces, it gets a little bit dicey. These are gloves that I got from Princess Auto. They're really cool. Stop you from getting oil under your fingernails and things like that, because when you go to work the next day you look like you're homeless. So I found that these are just really helpful because it just keeps your hands clean. And I had some other kind of cheapy ones that I got in Shoppers Drug Mart, but those bloody things, they just keep kind of bursting. So with these ones here, they're like they're like a 5mm thickness, so it means that you can use them, wear them, and they don't get they don't keep ripping on you, you know, which is kind of cool. What I'm doing here is just starting to dry these off, give them a little bit of a spin in the bucket, and then just take off some of the dirt on here. So after I had these jugs, or the outside I should say of the cylinder vapor blasted, I sprayed in some lubricant and some oil in a can into it, just to stop them from rusting and stuff like that. But that there is kind of like, even though I gave it a clean, it kind of builds up on there a little bit. I had the cylinders all honed out. Really the next thing that I had to do was I cleaned up the pistons, as you can see here, and basically got them sorted, put the new rings on there, measured the end gap and the rings as well to make sure that it lined up with what the manual said. And then I used these little devices here for kind of holding in the rings, and I slid the cylinder head down over it, and to put the cylinder in place, put a gasket obviously in there as well in between. Once I had that done, I could move on to the valve head. So you might have remembered me saying that I was getting like lots of loss of power, lots of loss of compression. So when I took the valve cover off, I basically put it upside down and saw that there was big problems with basically just, I put gasoline in and the gasoline would just leak through. So I had to reseat the valves in there. So I used a cutting compound, and I basically used this little tool to seat those valves in correctly. It took me quite a while to get it really nice and seated, tested everything, and did a bit of a leak test with gasoline again, and of course there was one of them that was still leaking, so I had to go back and reseat it. But once that was all done, everything was seated really nice, which was great. Really kept everything going. Then it was basically a case of just rebuilding up using the hardware that I had when I took everything apart. and putting in the springs and making sure everything was nice and doing my test and everything. Of course, keeping lubricated was really important at this step as well. This here is just a little bit of a view of what the cylinder head looked like before I put the valve cover on there, but you can see it was starting to look real nice. I had to feed the chain, the cam chain, up, the timing chain up through as well. I just did that by just kind of holding it up with a screwdriver. Once everything was built up, then it was a case of starting to build the rockers on there, so the actual valve rockers. Of course, keeping lubricated at this point was just as important. Actually, all joking aside there, it was really important when I was putting this whole top end of the engine back together to use assembly lube on everything. So it meant that even though I wasn't going to be starting the engine for a long time, everything was pre-lubricated with this kind of a gummy kind of a lube or oil, really worth doing. But at this point, it basically meant that I had the entire top end rebuild, and all I really had to do was clean up the valve cover, and then it was time to basically put the engine back together, which was nice. So that's a little bit of an overview of where we are at this point. Hopefully you guys liked I'm just trying to get you guys up to speed with where we are. And the next episode you're going to see, I'm going to be starting to take a look at trying to clean up the valve cover because it was really, really dull. So hopefully you guys will come check that out. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to like the video. If you've got any questions on any of this stuff that I'm after covering, don't forget to reach out, leave a comment, shoot me an email, and I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks for tuning in, and talk to you soon.